Welcome to Whiskey Bandit Reviews. I'm Eric.
And I'm Josh.
All right, and today we have the Old Forester 1910 Extra Old. Is this something you need to seek out? We're going to let you know.
So let's drink on that.
All right, Josh, this is the extra old out of the 117 series from Old Forester. Old Forester, it's got one of the highest scores that we have so far with the barrel strength.
Yeah, that was a very good product.
Yeah, they're lower end stuff, not crazy about, but they've got some really good stuff as well. So they're kind of all over the board.
Yeah, they've really hit some home runs with a few of their specialties. Like you said, some of the baseline stuff that they had, not necessarily the best stuff out there, but, I'm pretty excited to try this.
Yeah, I really like the 1920. The 1910's good. This is the 1910. I think you prefer the 1920 as well, right?
Yeah, I believe so. It's been a while since I've had them. I remember liking them both, but one a little bit better, and I think it was the 20.
Okay, so the 117 series, I think, is like an annual release that they do. They do something different every year, kind of like how Woodford does the Masters collection stuff. So they already did an extra old, which, if I'm not mistaken, is essentially a double oak, kind of like Woodford does. But I think they do it for 18 years or 18 months instead of the extra 12. And this being the extra is the 24 months.
Yeah, it says 24 months on here.
Yeah, anything else on that?
It just says that it's double-barreled, heavily charged secondary barrel for a period of 24 months. So, 93 proof, so we're 46.5% alcohol on this.
So, I wonder if it's just So it's just the one extra barrel but longer? Because double oak, that's 2 more barrels, correct? I think so, but similar kind of thing going on.
Yeah, the way I'm reading this, it appears it's just introduced into a secondary, heavily charged.
Okay.
Heavily charred, if I could speak correctly, secondary barrel for 24 months.
Okay. Yeah, and so the 1910 mash bill, I think, is 72% corn, 18% rye. So, pretty corn heavy. And if you're familiar with the 1910, which I've not had in a while, but I am familiar with it, pretty decent product. Again, not my favorite. I prefer the 20. Let's see here.
Oh.
Solid. I feel that was my performance more so than...
Okay. Well, I'm proud of you. Good job.
Got a cork in there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's real or not. I don't think so.
I don't think it is, but you know what? No, it's definitely not. But it is pretty beefy for such a small bottle. I gotta say that.
So this particular series released in December of 2022, and it's only a 93 proofer. So, what's that gonna do for us?
Yeah, I don't know. I hate to jump to conclusions because we were pretty pleasantly surprised with the last lower proof one that we had. Typically, we like to see some things a little higher than that, or in some cases, quite a bit higher than that. But
yeah, so the 1910, just the regular 1910, also comes in at 93 proof. So apparently the exact same thing, just aged longer in another new charred barrel. Yeah. So what will that do to it?
Well, let's get in here and see. It's got a pretty dark brownish color to it.
Yeah, you definitely see that extra charred barrel on it for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so right away I'm getting some kind of dark fruit vibes, maybe.
Yeah, it's kind of where I was headed with it as well. Kind of that, like, almost like that muddled cherry.
Yeah, it's either a cherry or like a cranberry, something like that, like a darker kind of a berry.
Definitely kind of fruit forward to me.
Yeah. It's got kind of like that musky aspect to it too, where you can tell that it's a bit older. Got that kind of extra oak, which obviously it should. Pretty oak forward.
Yeah, definitely getting the oak out of it as well, but in a pretty pleasant way. I know sometimes for me, if it gets too overwhelmingly oaky, it kind of takes away from some of the other aspects of it, but
Yeah, it definitely can.
it blends in really well with this one, I feel like.
Swirling it around there a bit, I'm getting some more kind of baking spices or the brown sugar smell that you get, but it's almost kind of like burnt brown sugar a bit, or
Okay. Kind of in line with some of those other toasted notes.
it's not overly aggressive either.
No, it's not. It's pretty balanced. It's got quite a few notes working for it, but they're blended pretty well, I feel.
Maybe a bit of kind of leathery smell too. It's got that kind of old thing going on that you get from either a really old bourbon or like one of these coming from one of the companies that do kind of the extra barrel thing. They get, like I said earlier, that musky, kind of leathery, old book smelling type thing going on.
Yeah.
You ready to dig in?
Yep. Let's get us it's got some slow burn to the hug there.
Yeah, you don't get that for a good little bit. I'm just now getting it.
Yeah. It sneaks up on you. I like that.
Oh, wow.
I like that.
Yeah, that's a slow burn for sure. Very delayed. I mean, it's one of those deep ones too. It's not really in your mouth or in your throat, really. It's in the chest for me.
It's in the chest for sure.
Yeah, so that feels good. I think somewhat reflective of the nose. It's got a fruity taste to it.
Yeah, it does for me as well.
So
Again, kind of back to that muddled cherry type flavor.
yeah.
Can pick up, you kind of touched on it a little bit on the nose, the little bit of the baking spice type flavor. I'm picking up on a little of that. I'm loving that slow burn that it's given.
Yeah. I'm getting kind of like some vanilla too. I mean, and I know that's really standard for all bourbon, but I'm finding it pretty forward as well. It's really like showing up a lot on my like front taste buds, like where it's kind of sweeter. And I don't know if I'm just not appropriately chewing it, but it's really on the front of the tongue. Very sweet.
It is sweet.
Be that corn.
Yeah. It's definitely sweet. It's got that slow burn to it on the back end though, so it gives you a little bit. I mean, it doesn't really have any of the like peppery type flavor or anything like that much to me. But it does give you a little bit of that heat on the back end.
Yeah.
So I do like that.
It's almost like medicinal cherry, but not like nasty.
Yeah.
It's like got that kind of like intense, deep cherry flavor. It's not a sweet cherry.
Yeah.
So that's definitely what I get mostly from it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. That's pretty forward to me on there. Past that, maybe just like I said earlier, maybe a little bit of the baking spice on that. I don't know, a little bit of sweetness from, like you said, maybe like the vanilla, almost like a butterscotch, something kind of in that realm. But to me, it's fruit forward on the nose. It's fruit forward on the palate. Got that slow burn on the end. It's pretty pleasant overall. I'm pretty impressed with it.
Yeah, and again, the sweetness at the front of the tongue and you probably won't agree with this because you drink a lot of coffee, but at the kind of the back end of it, the only thing that I get besides that tip, just the sweetness, is like kind of a very dulled down kind of bitterness that reminds me of coffee because I don't really care for coffee. Not that I don't care for this, but that's just one of the tastes that I get from coffee. How you
Okay.
it kind of leaves that lingering bitter taste.
Interesting.
And it's just off like I feel it's on like the back, like outside portions of my tongue. I don't know. And it's not an unpleasant bitter. Or there's something, I don't know, it just kind of reminds me a bit of coffee. Which doesn't make sense because, I don't know. It's something I just can't explain right now.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about bourbon. As we've discussed several times on this channel, in the end, it's all subjective, and everybody tastes these things differently.
So, you have recently, earlier, not long ago, had some Woodford Double Oak.
Yeah.
Just for recent comparison, since you've had that, what do you think?
You know, I have to say, and I'm kind of surprising myself on this comment, but I think that holds up pretty decently well against it. We're pretty big fans of the double oaked, especially the double oaked. I know that's kind of a different animal altogether, but the Woodford to me was sweeter on the side of like caramel, like more in that realm. This is still sweet, like we've touched on several times already. It's more on the fruit side of things. So, I don't know. I mean, I think it holds up pretty well. It's just a little... It depends more on what you're looking for on the tasting notes.
I do think there is an essence of some kind of caramel or maybe even chocolate going on. Maybe that's the aftertaste I'm getting. It's just kind of like a bitter cocoa rather than
almost
coffee.
like a dark chocolate.
Yeah, maybe. I think this is good, but I'm trying to determine if maybe it's not complex enough. But what it does is really good, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's lacking in the complexity. I'll give you that. Where it's really winning me over, though, is like you said, what it's doing. It's doing a really solid job at. You know, it's kind of standing apart from the competitors. It's not just like, you know, they're trying to do an exact mimic, an exact copy. They're taking the same concept but doing it their own way, and it's still turning out as a pretty solid product.
I will say, minus the hug, the finish doesn't have a lot going on.
Like you touched on earlier, you really get the sweetness pretty well right off. It comes early in the taste. You don't really get much else until that slow burn. So the whole middle part is pretty tame. It's lacking a bit. Oh, yeah, I'm pretty torn on what to do with this because, like we mentioned, what it does well. But it definitely lacks a little bit of complexity.
I know where I'm at it. You want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first.
How close do you think we are?
I would say we're probably 0.5 or more apart.
Really? Okay, so who do you think's higher?
I think I am. I think I like it better. Overall, pretty decent product. Left a little bit to be desired. We know we have that magic score of the 8.0. So with that in mind, this fell just short of that to me. It wasn't we have to go out and get it type of deal. So I got a 7.8 on the board.
I was just about to switch mine.
Were you?
Right before you did that. But I will just leave it. Because everything you said is exactly how I feel. I think what it does is good. I don't think it's great.
Yeah,
and I wish I would have taken my score to that because I'm actually higher than you.
Oh, really?
It's just under. It's that 7.9. Just under that, you have to absolutely go out and get it. I think it's close to that, but not quite. There's some things it's missing.
Yeah.
So 7.9 and a 7.7. I guess 7.85. Can't argue with that.
Okay, I think that comes in pretty
I think
solid
that's
for
fair.
this.
Yeah. So I got these from Old Forester at retail, and I don't recall how much that is, but I've been seeing these things going for like 110, 115 secondary. I would not pay that for it. I guess just kind of my final thought on it is it's good. It's not great. It needs to be at a higher proof. I like the uniqueness in it that it's very fruit forward, and I can't think of too many bourbons that are quite that sweet. So that's interesting to me.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think probably the main perk of it to me, to be honest, for a what was it
93, yeah.
93 proof to have that lingering hug to it, that slow burn.
Yeah, that was impressive.
That was probably the most impressive to me. I did not foresee something, at that proof having that kind of linger to it.
Yeah. Absolutely. If it didn't have that, I'd be much lower, probably.
Oh, for
I
sure.
don't think I'd be very happy with it. But it's so warm in the chest after you drink it. Like 30 seconds after you drink it.
When we say slow burn, we mean slow. Like, it takes quite some time to get there. So, overall, pretty pleased with it. Like you said, the price is probably a little much.
Yeah, if you get a good deal on it, get it. But I don't think it's seeking out and find it, gotta have it type of deal.
Yeah, probably not. If you just had the money to spend on it, definitely a cool collection piece.
Even though we've not reviewed it, I'm seeking out the double oak for a similar price before I go after this.
Yes.
From Woodford.
Yes.
Sorry. All right, that's all I've got. Anything else?
That's all I've got.
All right, so drop us a like if you've watched us to this point. Comment if you've had it, what you think of it. Are we completely off base? So
Possibly. On top of that, let us know what you would like to see us try in the future. Definitely always looking for some suggestions on that, on what you guys would like to see. So,
yeah. All right, thanks, guys.
see ya.
To check it out.